Hey Randy, real quick. Let's see what we're on. 2 minutes. You're a little low.
I'm a little low.
Yeah.
Speaker. Where the fuck is Yeti? Yo.
Have you raised the
Better?
volume up on the mic? Where it says volume.
I don't know why it's not showing up, Yeti.
3 hours later.
There we go.
Yo.
Yeah, here we go. Better. 3, 2, 1. Action.
I think I'm a special one.
I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again. Incredible stuff. This is very cool.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Rivals on the Pitch. I am back, your favorite Tottenham supporter, favorite host, best friend here. Welcome back. Welcome to match week 27, episode 32. I'm here with Randy.
What's up?
And let's get started. All right. Match week 26. So let's
Just to
let's
say
cover
something, Pat is taking a sabbatical because he couldn't handle the bubbles. So, Pat, we hope you get well soon and hope you'll be joining us next week.
He's on a plane right now. He's heading over
yes.
to try to help Arsenal try to get into the starting 11. We'll see how that works. It's pretty hard to play in the league when you're 45.
Yes, and he's gonna learn the hard way. He's a nail, and they got hammered. He got hammered real bad. So get well soon, Pat. You're just like everyone else on Arsenal. You're hurt, injured.
So real quick, I don't think I mentioned in the beginning. We are heading into match week 27. So in this episode, we'll be reviewing match week 26, doing a little preview for match week 27, which is kind of a quick turnaround. And we're playing some weekday games, I think, because of the FA Cup this weekend. So we'll get into that, and then some exciting news for the mini league for me. So let's dive right in.
So believe to where we left off was the beginning of the game was the remake between Villa and Liverpool. That's what started off our match week, honestly.
That was on Wednesday. Aston Villa hosting Liverpool 2-2. What's going on?
Well, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, we had 4 games. We had one on Wednesday last week, one on Sunday, and then this was our follow-up game. So I just believe it might be a little bit too much games in the window. I mean, in the week, but it looked promising. At least we scored first. Jota was able to steal the ball it was a bad pass, but he was able to get it to Salah, and Salah was able to get the goal. But then it was looking promising, but then, Villa at home was able to secure 2 goals before the first half ended.
Yep.
But, they were nice. Tielemans' goal was nice. Watkins, in like the 47th minute was pretty good. But then, just Liverpool just keep fighting back. And then, of course, Salah, who scored the goal, was able to give the assist to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he was able to, show us why people covered his right foot to tie it up. But I just think it was a hard-fought point. Like I said, points matter. If it's 1 or 3, we just need to keep pressure, from with Arsenal on our back. So any point helps. But it was a good fight, hard game. I knew Villa was going to be tough, especially with Rashford and Asensio playing.
I mean, Villa, they haven't been all that impressive. Are you worried does this game worry you about form, fatigue, what's to come for the rest of the season? I mean, we'll get into the next, this was match week 25.
Yeah.
quick turnaround for you
And
guys.
we already
But
saw the other game, but just before seeing that, I wasn't that too concerned. I just was thinking, okay, we got 1 point, and I was thinking for the next game, Villa. I mean, not West Ham against Arsenal, and I was just like, Arsenal's at home. I thought they were gonna be able to get the 3 points, and I was already thinking like that seven. I forgot how much the lead was at that point, but I was just like, oh man, it's gonna shrink because I was slightly positive that Arsenal were going to be able to pull out that win. And then that just adds a little more pressure. And sometimes when you see that lead shrink, you make things worse in your own mind as a player and you tend to make more mistakes and stuff. But I was just happy that we were able to fight back and at least salvage a point out of it. But I was hoping we were getting the 3 points, especially because how we started with a goal off the bat, and but
yeah, and then with City coming up the following week,
we got
having
a tough game,
getting that draw with Everton, in the derby, and then the questionable game against Wolves, a tie to Austin Villa, and then having to face City, who they look like their signing started to turn around and make an impact, but
yeah, they're catching on form again.
Yeah, but no, I mean, we'll probably get into depth in here in a few minutes with that game, but at least you guys were able to come up with the 3 points in that one. City not looking as convincing as we thought they would be, but we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see here. Shall we move on to the next game?
Of course. I think I've said enough about Liverpool. I can't wait to say what I have to say for the next game.
So Friday, February 21st, Leicester City hosting Brentford. Brentford with the win with 4-0 over Leicester City. Kind of a manhandled Leicester City. Put them in their place. It's kind of showing on why they're in the bottom third. Brentford, good performance. You don't expect anything less from Wisa and Buemo, but it was a good game. Did you watch this one?
I wasn't able to watch it, but I was able to catch the highlights. But just seeing how Brentford made it look so easy, 3 goals in the first half, I was like, at that point, why bother watching? You already knew what the results was going to be.
Even people in the stands were walking out.
Yeah, and it's just sad, But of course, like you mentioned, Wisa and Mbueno, they were on fire. And if those guys were fired to start, it was going to be a tough match for Leicester.
This is what we anticipated when we faced them a few weeks ago, where the firepower that they have, was going to be such a challenge. And this is what we thought we were walking into. But yeah, what do you think about Leicester City manager? Is he here? Do you think he's here next in the summer? If they get relegated, is he still manager of this team, or do you think he will back out, or do you think the team will sack him?
I don't think the team will sack him. I mean, it's difficult because you've heard the talks about Ruud van Nistelrooy wasn't very pleased because they were promised him signings in the winter window, which never happened. So I think this is just a continuation of that. He's unhappy, and it's showing. If he would have had those signings, it might have been a difference. They've lost 5 consecutive. They've lost 5 home games or something like that, and that's not. I think that's like the first time that's happened. It's just not looking really good for them right now. They're in relegation. It could be like they might decide a mutual agreement to part ways, but and it's sort of a thing to things to come. Like if you didn't keep your word in the beginning, what do you think you're going to happen in the summer? Are you going to keep your word with signings to try to get them back up into the Premier League? I just think Ruud van Nistelrooy saw enough of what he needed to see to make a decision. It's like,
right. And I think, honestly, I think if the situation was a little bit different, as a young manager or fresh manager, I should say, managing a championship team isn't a bad way to start. I mean, how many managers have come through those ranks and made their way to the Premier League? So I don't think him being relegated, if he would have been backed in January, like you said, if they would have kept their word and say, hey, you know, we'll make this a project, you know, we'll back you. If we get relegated, we'll have a plan. We'll try to back you, and we'll try to come back at it next year, you know, because they still are a strong team. I mean, they've had some results here in this league. So who's to say that they won't be back next year or in 2 years?
Yeah, but the thing is, you have the money now. You had the money to spend in the winter window.
No, I don't think
when you
so.
get relegated, that money. I mean,
Leicester
compared
City
to
has I think they have financial issues, and that's the main reason.
But then why make promises? But I mean, compared to
that's true.
Premier League money and Championship money, there's a big gap. So you at least had maybe a little more wiggle room with Premier League money. But once you get relegated, the signings that he probably wanted to buy, he's not going to be able to afford now because you have different wages. You're probably going to have to sell players. But I mean, for me,
if you look, if he's here, he's been here.
If he would have stayed, I would have liked. I would like it if he stayed, so he can work his way up and build the team from ground zero.
That's what I was going to say.
And then get him to the Premier League again, and then have it his way. But we don't know what's behind the scenes, but what's going on.
You can still be a project even if you're getting relegated. You know, you build your team, you get in the championship. You know, you'll attract some good players. There's plenty of good players in the championship. Attract them, attract young talent.
Yeah,
get them promoted.
Loan options.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't think he himself will want to stay. Like you said, after not holding up their end of the bargain, I think there's some already tension between them, and so sucks to see.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully they'll be back again, but I don't think it'll be a quick resurgence, a quick one season thing.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Saturday, February 22nd. Everton, Randy's favorite team. Randy bleeds blue for Everton, hosting Man United.
I guess it was a game of 2 halves.
Yeah, it really was. Beto once again in the 19th minute scoring. Everton going to the half 2-0, and then United, Bruno Fernandes scoring a free kick. And it was actually pretty nice. I'll give him props for once.
It was nice. Kept them. Pickford was standing still.
Yeah. Of course, it wouldn't be a Premier League match week without some controversial calls. Did you see the game change? Well, I won't say game changing, but the moment where this game could have gone either way. And do you agree with the call that was made on the field with
the penalty, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if you didn't know or you didn't watch the game. For anyone out there, it
was almost like he grabbed him on the waist a little bit or something like that.
It would have been a penalty, but Ashley Young, almost as if he oversold it and he kind of dove. There was a little tugging, push and tug, which he probably would have been granted the penalty kick, but he kind of dove. And when you watch it, the replay, you're like, wow, he kind of overdid it. And then one of the commentators were saying the same thing. He oversold it. He made it look more of a dive than an actual penalty. If he would have just gone down, without all the dramatics, probably would have gotten a penalty. But did you see it?
I did see that. For me, I agree. I mean, for me, that's like almost a regular play, but I do agree. He tried to oversell it. The SAG Awards were coming this Sunday, so I think he wanted to get a last minute nomination, but sometimes doing too much is just let it happen normally. Yeah. I think he would have gotten the foul if he would have just let it happen.
He might have even have gotten a chance at the ball if he would have. Maybe not, but that's the argument I guess we always have. Watching players dive, you get frustrated because you're like, dude, you just instead of going to the ground, suck
Keep
it
the
up,
play alive.
keep the
Trying.
play
Yeah.
alive. You had probably had a one-on-one with the keeper, but you rather just go with the I guess quote unquote easier chance probability is a penalty kick, right? But it's happened so many times where you kind of look at the player on your team. Your own team is doing these dives and flops, and it gets upsetting. So,
Yeah.
but I think at the end of the day, it was a good call.
Yeah, I
And
agree. As long as Man United don't get anything out of it, a point is fine with me. But I think it was Everton's game, and they lost focus and they lost it themselves. But credit to Man United for fighting back. But it is what it is. David
Man,
Moyes still is doing way better than a lot of people give him credit.
yeah, no, I think he's getting a lot of credit. I think people are seeing what he's doing with this team. That was,
And you remember, guys, this could have been David Moyes at Man United, but you guys didn't want to wait.
United.
It's better for David Moyes to return home to Everton and bring the Everton fans a little more joy now, because they were miserable with all these games they had, all these results, and now they actually have a little bit of hope. They're probably going to think it's going to be like the Everton of old, where it was a mid-table team competing in the cups and stuff like that, and giving hard teams a good fight.
It's funny. You bring that up. People are already calling for
Sack
Ruben,
for his head.
Yeah. Why? You have one transfer window, maybe. He came in right before. He didn't know what he had, but you're already calling for his head. I think Ruben.
It's just people are impatient.
Yeah, I think he could be a good manager, but man, he's not getting. He's getting a lot of grief for inheriting a bad team.
The thing is, the fans, they're so used to winning. They're so used to trophies and being in contention for everything, and now they're not. So it sucks for them. It sucks for fans. I understand, but I think just Man United in general is being run poorly. I saw that they're trying to cut money cost
The
as
head
much.
chef got fired.
Yeah, now the workers of the facilities, their lunch now is just a soup and a sandwich and a fruit. They're cutting costs, but then you're paying players like Casemiro, who's one of the highest earners at the club, and he isn't seeing as much action. I think you're cutting costs in the wrong spot. But then again, whatever. I'm happy Man United is having a terrible season, seasons and seasons and seasons. But I just think this is what gets people upset, is just seeing their club being run so poorly. And I understand people are already comparing Amrin to Hagen, and he was just saying, we weren't this bad under him, and they're already just that quick. They lost patience. And what's the resolution? You think you're going to get another head coach? This problem is not going to be fixed overnight. It's going to be a progress, and people don't have patience for that, especially when your name is Man United and you're not allowed the time.
Yeah, you're not allowed the time to rebuild if you're Man United. It reminds me of how we're always like, oh, Liverpool, this is Klopp's team. And Arne Slot walks into a team that's not his, and this is why he's reaping the benefits from it. This is same thing, just opposite side of the spectrum. It's Ruben Emery dealing with the mess, the fallout that Eric Ten Hag left. Look at this team, look at the squad. They were comparing the players to the squad to Tottenham, and they're like, with Tottenham's full, if both squads are healthy, a lot of these United players don't even get into our starting 11. And not trying to toot our own horn.
No, I did see that argument, and I have to somewhat agree.
And it's
that.
Even
you
as
see Højlund, how many did they 75 mil for him?
Yeah,
and he only has 3 goals. I think I might have sent the link. There's like 37 players or something like that are above him who have scored more goals, but they're just spending it poorly. I mean, but that's based maybe on scouting or whatever it is. But look at what,
not to say he would be
Marcus
a bad
Rashford
player.
has done. He's left. McTominay in Napoli, he is having a phenomenal season over there. If he would have stayed, he would have took over for Casemiro. I think he would have. They should have never sold him. We all make jokes about Anthony. Look at what he's done in La Liga from the start. 3 Man of the Match awards already. He's assisted. He has goals, and it's just making you think. If Anthony can do this, how come he can't do it in Man United? Well, it's got to be the coach. It's got to be the whatever it is going on in Man United. It's not the players. It's the organization. And it's just, it looks bad when your player leaves and they're doing so much better. It's like, how come you couldn't do it for us? Well, there are things that you don't know. There are things that are behind the scenes, but it's eye-opening to see that.
Yeah. I mean, Højlund, maybe in the future. I mean, he's what, 20, 21 or something like that. I mean, he's a young kid, and I'm sure there's a talented player in there that's going to be a star in the future, but it's like, other than that, who do you have there to help them out?
Yeah,
I don't think
you
it's
basically
the worst
gave everyone away. Sancho, Anthony.
I
think Xerxes is the only one that's somewhat another forward for him.
Yeah, Xerxes. So, looking at the squad, I have a bone to pick with what was said last week.
Do it. You were in here, so go ahead. This is Alan's time.
It was Tottenham should have dominated Man United, blah blah blah. They got everybody back from injuries, blah blah blah, this and that. They only scored 1 goal. Okay, granted, we didn't play the best, but we got players back. When players, and Pat said it, everyone said it, when players get back, they don't go straight into the starting 11 and play 90 minutes, right? You get, you ease into the team. Players haven't played for a few months, and then look at this starting 11. Man City has, or Man United has. It's basically who are they missing? Who are they really missing? They had
Not
they
really
had young
anybody that. Basically, these are like the original, the ones who play most of the time.
Well, this is we're looking at this week's. Let me pull up last week's, because I think they had a lot more young guys on the bench, but that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, but that's the bench. But yeah, I have the starting lineup for the Tottenham game. It was Højlund, Garnacho, Xerxes up front, Dorgu, Casemiro, Fernandez, Dalot, Delight, Maguire, and Mazzarri, and Onana. Those are basically the ones who start the game. Everyone else is and
these are players that were just signed to make this squad better. So we didn't get any recognition last episode, so I'm here to say, Tano, you guys did a great job. Thank you for that victory. Thank you for the 3 points. Appreciate you. Thanks for the longest current active winning streak. But hey, that doesn't get recognized, because who are we, Tottenham?
Because in the position you're at on the table, but
hey, we're above United.
But then again, you guys, I don't understand the comparison between what Amorin said against Spurs, whatever. But then I think Ange said it nicely. Well, okay, you did it for 1 game, but they didn't even have it basically in that 1 game. They had, like you said, they had basically all their starters.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
They haven't been playing. We eliminated from the Cups, but yeah, but we'll see what happens. I just, I kind of like their manager. I don't want to see him fail, and then it's sad to see that the organization is being run so poorly that it's kind of dragging his name through the dirt. Because from what I heard was reading, he didn't want to join United. He wanted to join United, but in the summer. He didn't want to do it mid-season. He wanted to join the summer. But They offered him, I guess, something that he couldn't turn down, or he took the position earlier than he wanted to. And it's sad to see because he was doing great. He was flying high with Sporting, right? And then seeing the turnaround or what he has to deal with here, and it's the organization. It's not just him. It didn't start with Eric either. It's been ongoing. Maybe they're such a big name that it goes against them sometimes, and if there's no results now, then everybody turns on each other and it kind of implodes. But we'll see.
Speaking of implode,
speaking of moving on to the next game, Arsenal hosting West Ham. Arsenal 0, West Ham 1, with a cross from a former United who was let go. Wan-Bissaka crossing it over to Gerard Bowen at the 44th minute. And
but
then
what
again,
happened to that impenetrable defense? You know, Gabriel and Saliba, the most clean sheets. You know,
you can't even blame it on the defense, or you can't even blame it on the red card because they scored
before the red card. Yes,
before this red card. You know
what happened there? But luckily, Pat's not here, so we'll speak for him. The facts.
Yeah, we'll say what he wanted to say, right? What I think he would want us to say, right?
It's whatever we want. He never sent us the notes, so it's his loss. Now we get to say what we want.
You didn't send us the notes, so
I did see the video. Wan-Bissaka did a nice, nice play, nice cross. I believe, I don't know who it was. I think it was Gabriel who might have ducked. He could have had the header, but I think he ducked, and I think it was Declan Rice who was covering Jared Bowen. But I think he might have let it go, thinking there was going to be a defender behind him. But Jared Bowen took the opportunity. Nice header. And that was it. Bubbles rained from the heavens above. And Arsenal's title shots is disappearing, just like those bubbles popped.
They had an opportunity to move up to 56 points, 8 behind Liverpool.
This was, like I said, this was the game I was worried about. But
with a game in hand, too.
Yeah. And luckily, West Ham came and played. But I have some stats. Arsenal had 67% of the possession. They had 20 shots, but only 2 were on target. So, I mean, you can't win if you only have 2 shots on target like that, especially if you're playing at home.
I hate Arsenal, so I'm not here to, I don't defend them at all.
Yeah.
But
the same, but we got to give at least somewhat credit.
It does, those stats do say something about the injuries they're facing now, especially in the forwards. But, I mean, who are they missing? Who's the forwards they're missing?
Havertz, Saka.
Havertz, Saka, and...
Jesus.
Jesus. I mean, he's been on the bench this whole time, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's got an injury. He got picked up in injury when he was in form. Kai Havertz got an injury when they were doing their training in Dubai, I believe. Saka, he got injured during the game back a couple, games ago. But I was telling Pat, I don't want to be rude. I mean, whatever, I am rude, but that falls on Arteta. He should have gotten someone in the window, in the winter window.
So I get the argument, right? Where they
get the argument too.
Why get the wrong person? Why invest money in someone who's not part of the long-term plan? Why not save for the summer? Guess what? In the summer, who knows what's going to happen? You're second once again. Why not make a push? You're playing Champions League and the Premier League. You're out of all, both cups as well. You have an opportunity to focus on one or the other. And make a run for one of them.
Exactly.
Why not? Why not pick up a player? They made a late push for Ollie Watkins, but
that late push seemed like a panic buy, just because it was so last minute.
Yeah, so sitting here and be like, "Well, we don't have anyone up front." Well, you don't have anyone up front. That's your fault.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Alone would have been suffice. You're gonna spend money on. You can negotiate it. pay half the wages, pay 90% of the wages, but at the end of the day, you're not paying a big, large fee for him, you know?
But you've mentioned something like we don't want to get the wrong players, you want to get the right players. But Sterling, he seems like a wrong player. He's on the bench, and you put Mourinho up front. Jorginho, you bought him as a midfielder, and he doesn't even play. Zivchenko, you got as a left back. It seems like that's their thing. They're just continuing to buy the wrong players. They buy these players, but they're like for one season, and then after that, they're forgotten about. So I just think that falls on Arteta, and buying. Like I said, you don't have to buy Isak at this moment, but there are options that you can get, loan per se, and just at least reinvigorate. You have Saka is out. You have Havertz who got out. You knew these guys were out in January. Make a late push. I mean, not make a push for someone, a loan option, whatever. Because like you said, it's not guaranteed in the summer. If you have a chance to somewhat get a higher position, depending on how you make it in the Champions League and in the Premier League, that might entice someone to come into like an Isak. But I think the main target they're going for, Isak, is more likely looking at Liverpool than Arsenal, based on what Liverpool has achieved at this moment. And to me, not to be biased, who would you rather go for at that moment? Do you know what I mean?
Achieved. We'll see. It's not at the end of the season yet.
It's not, but it is for Spurs.
Maybe Arsenal would have made a push if they were closer to the top, But like I said, you still have the Champions League. You haven't won the Champions League. That's something that I'm sure a lot of fans
make a good run in the Champions League.
Want that, yeah. And it's a playoff format. It's not about points at that point. It's a whole different format. It's a knockout tournament. So it's not like you're catching up on points. It's something that you can win. One thing that does kind of like take me a little bit is when Arsenal wants to bring up, injuries and whatnot. And to me, it seems like their squad, they have a decent squad without the injuries and a bench. Sure, you don't have the best forwards, or what's available to you. You've had better forwards, a few months ago, but you still have the core of your defense there, and you're still, letting, you're not holding a clean sheet at least, But
yeah,
it is difficult. You've had a healthy squad this whole time, So with Liverpool, I think it's hard to put yourselves in our shoes because there was a lot of games, thin squads. It adds up, and even when you're healthy, you had players that have been putting in many, many hours, many minutes on the field. That even when everybody's healthy, you still got players still recovering. But
yeah,
I don't
know. But then again,
I
mean, whose fault is it for having a thin squad?
Yeah.
If you wanted to make a run, because this was supposed to be their year, if you want to make a run, depth is important. I always say prepare for the worst.
I just think especially if you're Champions League. But still,
yeah, with Champions League, there's going to be more games with Champions League.
And you need quality depth, yeah.
Yes. And
what do you think of the Lewis Skelly red card?
Where's Pat when you need him? Because he's going to be like, oh, it wasn't a red card, But looking at it, I know it was like he was crossing into the halfway line, into the other half, last man. I just think Lewis Skelly, he lost like that first tackle and just while he was going down, was like, I just got to make a tackle. And I believe it's a deserved red card.
I
he's a young kid. That's gonna, not to be rude, that's gonna benefit him. That's how you learn. He's got to be more mature in these games.
He's gonna be a good player for
that's the one thing. I think he's gonna be a good player, but you have to make these mistakes. It's just sad that he got a red card. I think that's his second red card.
Yeah.
But it's just not looking good. I believe Arsenal has more red cards under Arteta and it's not looking good. I think it's also disciplinary. It's just maybe he's. I understand you want to make that tackle, but you also have to understand that tackle has consequences, and it was a wrong call on his end. What do you think?
If I was an Arsenal fan, I don't think I would blame him too much for it. It's almost like you're trying to make a tactical tackle, but it looks like I think it was on Kudos.
Yeah,
Mohamed Kudos. Yeah, it looked like he could have had an opportunity, but at that point, I know we had talked about it in one of the other episodes where you kind of just let it go. You maybe try to slow him down a little bit. Do a little tug here and there, try to slow him down. Try to have that. I think it was the left. I don't know if it was the center back or the other fullback. Give him a little bit of time to catch up. Try to defend it. Make it easier for the keeper and see what happens from there. But just kind of live to fight another day.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's young, and like you said, you learn from that. I think he's gonna be a good player for England and for Arsenal, unfortunately, for us. But
yeah,
it could have gone either way.
Yeah, but then, like we've mentioned, at that point, it's difficult for Arsenal to come back with one player down.
Mm-hmm.
That basically almost put the nail in the coffin for them. To make a comeback with one player down, it's a little difficult, even if you're at home. And at that point, West Ham had the lead. They were comfortable with however it went, but it just made life a little more difficult for Arsenal at that point. But
I bet
their pain is my gain, which is fine with me.
He's gonna be listening to this, and he's gonna be furious. I can already see his fist clenching.
He's gonna edit a lot. He's gonna edit a lot of things we said.
All right, let's move on a little bit quick because we've been a little slow. We got a lot of good cover. All right, moving on. Bournemouth 0, Wolves 1. Bournemouth hosting Wolves. Bournemouth with a red card. I don't know. Yep, the red card on the 31st minute. Wolves shortly after take advantage. Kuna scoring in the half, right before the half, and Wolves come out with the victory, the 3 points. I think we all would have put money on Bournemouth to win this one, but surprise win for the Wolves. Yeah. Keeps them a little bit further away from that bottom three. Now they're slowly kind of separating themselves from Ipswich Town and the rest of the guys down there. Yeah.
It's his fourth game in a row where he scored, so he's catching fire, and that's what Wolves need to have separation from relegation.
Yeah, everyone's looking at that release clause.
Yep.
He would look good in that lily white jersey.
What, in that Fulham white?
No. Speaking of Fulham, another unexpected victory. Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 2. Fulham hosting Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace Fulham with an own goal. And then Daniel Munoz scoring in the 66th minute.
I think he did some little salsa lessons at the very end to break the defender and just hit it with power. He got that second goal.
He put a lot of power in that one. Crystal Palace winning their last, they won 3 of the last 5 matches. So they've been on a little bit of a streak. Yeah. They're sit at 13th, right below us. Sitting both Tottenham and Crystal Palace sitting at 33 points. Get on them. They made a little less. They've been on a good streak.
Like I said, this is the Crystal Palace that can show up.
Yep.
Playing like this, and they're trouble for any team. And to do it against Fulham while they're away, it's a good showing.
I just want to say that if Munoz was playing in La Copa America finals, I think Colombia would have beat Argentina.
But that's his fault, right?
He got the stupid.
There you go.
It's like, man, you ruined it. But anyways, let's just talk about something less depressing. Lift up our spirits. Here we go. Ipswich hosting the Tottenham Hotspurs. Ipswich 1, Spurs disappointing me and scoring 4, putting 4 past Ipswich.
All
Unfortunately,
right,
I did
Alan,
not
this
get
is
my
all
mini
you. Let
my
your
mini league
emotions out.
prediction. Oh man, this team, it's been a roller coaster of a year. But all right, here we go. So
Do it. Give us.
it was a good performance. Ipswich started off real hot. I kind of got a little bit nervous.
Had a little.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, oh man, and they came out swinging. But I think we handled the game well. Seeing our winter signing, Kevin Donzo, the center back, man, this guy looks good for us. I think it's an underrated signing we have. It's seamless what he's come in the game, come into the team, the starting 11, and he's doing a lot of the stuff that Romero would do. You see him pushing up the field, his presence on the ball. He carries the ball very well for a defender. He doesn't panic. He's comfortable, and it's exactly what we need. Especially playing Ange ball. Having Vic back. Playing from the back, setting up the plays from the back. It's great to see because everybody just seems more comfortable. It's more of what the style of play that we're used to that sets up, our forwards, our attack. So it's great to see him. I think he was a great pickup. I just don't know what's going to happen when Romero and Van de Ven come in, come back. What I'm hoping is there's going to be a lot of heavy rotation because, Romero can't stay healthy. It's a big issue, but I would love to keep him on the team. So, hey, you know what? Shared some time with Kevin. It's weird calling him Kevin with Danzo.
Well, you're his mate. You know him off the bat. You went to high school with him.
Hey, KD. Oh yeah, KD. That's a good one. And then Spence. Jet Spence again. Great performance. It's crazy to think that we almost lost him to Genoa. In the summer. On these loan spells that people were complaining about him. People were saying, "Oh, he's not producing his off the field, his attitude." I don't know what it was, but we didn't even play him. Conte didn't want to play him, but he found. I don't know if it was him or if Ann said something or what's going on. But he's been a great player for us. I think we are really set in that fullback position. Having Paro, Dogi, and Spence who can play left or right. And it's great to have. I think next year we're going to reap the benefits of that, where we can rotate another position where we can start rotating, and we have that quality off the bench that makes, team successful, Son, another one.
Yeah, I got to say, Son was having a phenomenal start. Him with Johnson, that nice little duo. It's pretty good.
It's good to see.
It must be nice to see that.
Right. It is. And you could tell that, it's unfortunate that we got kicked out of the 2 cups, but you can see the difference that the rest is making, not having a midweek game. You're having a good amount of rest. And I think a lot of players were on holiday and they came back and they just looked better. We looked less sluggish. Kulusevski, his goal, it's like he's back to who he was. It wasn't the zombie form of him that we were seeing out of all the players. So it's good to see. I don't want to say it's a good thing that we got kicked out of the cups because, no one wants to lose. But I think it kind of strengthens our squad to be better prepared for Europa and a better chance to kind of climb the table here in the Premier League, even though it might be a little meaningless, but nobody wants to finish 12th. You don't want to finish below mid-table, right? Especially if we're fighting to be a top team in the world's best league. We want to be considered top 6, and where we're at right now, we don't deserve to be in that conversation, which we need to fight to be that, But yeah. It's good to see we have Man City coming up. Hopefully we can keep the momentum going. But it is good to have all these players back. I think they took extra care of these players. I think they probably were ready to come back sooner, but I believe they didn't want reoccurring issues. So it's good to hopefully that's the case, and we don't see any more injuries. But we'll see what happens from here on out. We got a few more weeks. 12 games left.
Yeah, or so to
11
salvage your
games.
season a bit, to make one last push.
So it's good to see. It's good to have our team back. Good, get back into winning ways. We have the longest current active winning streak. Well, typical.
By how much? What is it? 2 games?
three games.
Oh, 3. Oh, something to praise about.
Yeah,
record book.
It's unfortunate for Ipswich though. I feel like they're a solid team, but
I do
just
like Ipswich. I
enough.
wish there was another team that was doing worse. I would think they deserve to stay another season, but it's tough when you get back into the Premier League. Mostly the teams that just get promoted go
Yeah.
back straight down. Sadly,
you
that's the
can-
way it is. And sorry, Ipswich, and sorry, Ed Sheeran.
Right. If you could throw one team in flip flop with Ipswich, what team would it be?
Man United. Just to shut them up. I hate those fans. I don't know. It's a good question. You got Leicester, Southampton. Honestly, I don't think there would be a team that I would trade. Every other team seems pretty good, honestly. That would be a hard one to pick. What about you?
If it didn't matter, Arsenal.
Oh, in that case, Arsenal, I'm on that boat. Yeah, I want to hear Arteta. Oh, see Saka scoring in the championship.
No, I think it'll be United still.
Yeah,
Just
let them suffer more.
no. You know what? City. Take City. Sorry.
What could happen? We'll see what with these charges
you're
coming
right.
up. They might join them. Ipswich might be saved yet again. Nah, we'll see.
That might be more of a realistic pick than we would think.
Seeing Marmouche and Haaland tearing it up in, then whatever, League One or
Right. All right. Moving on, after a brilliant performance from Tottenham, our favorite team, is Southampton hosting Brighton. Southampton 0, Brighton 4. Brighton just showing why, well, I don't guess Brighton, but Southampton pretty much putting on a performance to show why they are at
being
last
relegated
in the league.
But Mitoma,
Still
he's on fine form right now.
Oh, yeah. He turned down that money and he got a boost. He said, "Oh, you want to offer me all this money? Sorry, not enough. Watch me play."
Yep. And that run with it was just beautiful. It was a beautiful run, and then of course to get that goal at the end, just completes it, and it's nice.
Yep.
Just like last week's goal where he had that nice control.
Oh yeah.
He's just showing like a masterclass. He's just showing what he's gonna get a high price tag, but it's up to Brighton to see if they let him go. I don't know. He could be like that Caicedo money, in the millions, but we'll see.
You think so? I think he might just be a Brighton legend.
I mean, depends. I know like Liverpool were looking at him. A lot of people would love to get him, but of course, Brighton, they're very hard to deal with. You saw how much Caicedo went for. They're a good club. I don't want to say they're like a feeder club, but they do have one of the best scoutings out there.
Yeah. Every year, it's like they have a new star.
Yep. What's it called? Baleba? He's another one that's coming up.
I want him.
You and a bunch of other clubs, but we'll see.
I'll send you some money. I'll write a check.
Go fund me.
$3. All right, moving on to the next game. Last game of Saturday, Aston Villa hosting Chelsea. Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Chelsea with the early lead scoring. Good goal by
Enzo
Fernandez.
I think getting back with your girlfriend after you dump her is I don't know what his workout regimen is, but it's working.
Right.
Guys, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but his performance went up.
But that did not last long. In the second half, Marco Asensio scoring 2, giving Austin Villa the victory. So here we are, Marcus Radford making an impact. The 2 loans from
Yeah, it
PSG
was
and Man
two
United.
two from Rashford straight to Sancho, 2 and 2 for them.
Looking like Emery's got some good loans. They're going to be looking like a hard team to beat, but their current form isn't the greatest. They've only won 1 out of the last 5 with 3 draws, 1 loss. But hey, we'll see what, they maybe just needed that time to click. We'll see what Austin Villa comes up with. I think they're going to be a good opponent coming up. Where do you see them finishing any different than what you had predicted them last time?
I think they're just going to be in the top 6 for some reason. I feel like it's got to be between Man City and Newcastle getting that 4th place. I feel if Newcastle, whichever one of those don't get it, one's going to be 5th, and I believe Aston Villa might get that last position, 6th position to get into Europe. But depending how it is with the Champions League, because I believe England might get the 5 positions for Champions League, so it might open it up. But I just think Aston Villa might be in like 6th position. I think it's a little too late.
Yeah, you guys kept saying Nottingham Forest might drop, and I was kind of against that idea. I really thought that they were going to keep their form for the rest of the season, but they've lost 3 of their last 5, and I feel like they're slowly starting to slow down. I think fatigue is finally starting to kick in. They didn't play those much of those midweek games, but now we're reaching the tail end of the season, and I think fitness is starting to become an issue for some of the teams. And I think Forest
they're familiar with this type of position. There's teams that have been there who know how to push,
keep up
and keep up that pace, like Man City and Newcastle. And I feel they might overtake them, but not Newcastle. Forest do have a little buffer between them and
if you think about it,
4th place. So they might.
But is it really? They're 3 games ahead of City. Forest is sitting at 47. Brighton's sitting at 40. That's 7-point game. That's 2 wins. Maybe they won't. Maybe
but
Brighton
we'll
doesn't
see with this game that's coming up against Arsenal. They might.
Right.
They might shut some people up.
I'm just saying that 3rd and between Forest and Brighton.
I know there's a bunch of teams that can.
There's a lot of
get
teams.
those Europe spots. There's a lot of teams. You just think it's just like Newcastle and Villa, but there's, like you mentioned, there's those teams like Brighton. There's only that small gap and there's still plenty of games left. And just like you said, you just need those teams. You just need everything to go right for you to get into those positions.
It's been a wonky season to begin with. So that kind of still gives me hope for Spurs, for Tottenham to move up the league. Any other season, I would have been like, yeah, we're done for. We're staying. This 12th is where we live, the rest of the season. But it's been an off season for everybody. So I still hold on to a little bit of hope, thinking that we can move up. But speaking of Forest, the Sunday games, February 23rd, started off with Newcastle hosting Nottingham Forest. Newcastle 4 putting 4 past Forest, who scored 3 themselves, but not enough. This is a bit of a shocker, but not really.
I think it was a shock that Nottingham Forest scored first, like in the first 6 minutes. And then after that, to score 4 goals in like 12 minutes in the first half.
I guess it's shocking because Newcastle hasn't been in the best form, but yeah,
Newcastle haven't been playing well at home as well. So it's like it could have gone either way, and it almost looked like that. But I think Newcastle woke up a little too late, to get the draw. But still, it was a good showing from Newcastle to get those 4 goals in 11 minutes.
Yeah. And then final game of the Sunday, Man City
important
hosting
game.
Liverpool. Man City 0-0, Liverpool 2.
Where do I start? I'm sorry, I think I hear the buses getting ready for the parade. Man,
What parade?
Oh yeah, you don't know about it because you never win a trophy. So that's it, you know. But Liverpool, I believed it was going to be a 2-2 draw. Silly me for not thinking we're Liverpool going to win. But what can I say? Slot has done the double on Pep Guardiola. 2 wins, and we kept them, and it's been a clean sheet. We've owned Pep this season. Arnie Slot's first season at Liverpool, first time versus Pep and his Manchester City squad, and we've had their number. I don't know if you watched the game, but that McAllister corner kick to the front post, which Szoboszlai was able to do a nice quick pass to the middle to Mo Salah, who was able to get it and hit that nice shot. Luckily, it got a deflection, but it went in. But still, Salah got the goal with that. And then Salah on the other end, assisting to Dominic Szoboszlai to make it 2-0 for Liverpool. It was a new formation for us, a 4-2-2-2 with like 2 false nines with Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai being in position instead of our usual forwards like Jota or Darwin Nunez. But I think it just worked perfectly. I liked that formation. I think it brought something new to the game because at the end, whenever Man City had the possession, it sort of looked like a 4-2-4. We were able to minimize the space they had, and we had able to win the ball back easily. Even though we didn't have most of the possession in that game, it just shows that Liverpool can win at any way. I think that was the plan, to let them have the possession, and we will find a way to win. And that's what happened. Happy with it. Happy with the performance. Of course, Mo Salah breaking records with, in total 41 goal involvements this season. So that's 27 games with 25 goals, 16 assists, which is on par to break the current record with Alan Shearer has, I believe, which is, I think, 47. Salah with 27 away goal involvements, which is, I believe, like unheard of. But I also have to give credit to our defense, not on the right flank, because Trent Alexander-Arnold
he's wearing ice skates or rollerblades.
Yes. And if I was Pep, that's what I would have done. I would have attacked the wings, because Robertson hasn't been in the best of form as well, but Trent has been, not to sound bad, but he's been horrendous. Doku has passed Trent 12 times in that game, but luckily Mo Salah he's been running back to help out, and Konate has been there to cover Trent when he's been passed. I just think it was a good, all-team effort playing, but it's not looking good for Trent. I know defensively he's not the best, but what he offers sort of makes up for it. But I think it's just good on Pep to attack that side. That's the weakest side. Take advantage of it. Luckily, they weren't able to capitalize on it. And I think Marmoush did have a goal, but it was ruled offside, so which was great for us. Clean sheet, but it's just a good showing. And take that with Arsenal's loss. We have 11 points separating us from them, and now it's just looking. Yeah, but it's just looking like this is, our title to win, and of course we're the only ones who. Yes, and we are the ones who are in control of our destiny. Yeah. If we lose, it is on our end. It is our doing, but just looking how it looks.
If you guys lose it, I want to hear. I want an apology.
Oh, an apology. Well, I don't do apologies.
Yeah,
I don't do apologies. All I do is speak facts. And I remember you guys had me record that I did say that Liverpool are going to win this season. So I'm hoping you guys kept your receipts because that is being played when Liverpool are raising the title.
All right.
You guys got a lot of receipts, but you guys ain't able to cash them in yet. So it's good to be a Liverpool fan at the moment. But it was a good showing from Liverpool. I'm happy for the display to do it away. It's just, I just think it's our time. And it's looking like it's going to be that way. With, of course, Arsenal losing and Man City losing as well. And with the 11-point difference we have, it just seems like it's written in the stars that this is our year.
We'll see. Season is not over. Plenty of football left. But
yes,
it's looking like that might be the unfortunate, likely outcome. The losers are going to be the winners. So let's move on to match week 27, where things could start aligning a little bit better for the rest of us. Tuesday, midweek game, FA Cup taking over the weekend, so our games have been pushed to Tuesday. Hopefully we can get this out in time so that it's not old news. So Tuesday, February 25th, the matches start off with Brighton hosting Bournemouth. Brighton on a good streak. Bournemouth with a unfortunate loss. Trying to make up for that. Who do you take in this game?
I think Brighton and the form they're playing right now, 2 wins. I just think they're playing wins. Home. Yeah, I just think it's theirs for the taking.
I think so too. I think that actually be a good game. I think that's going to be a what could have been a highlight game, but I think Brighton might take this. And then Crystal Palace hosting Aston Villa. It's interesting.
I think another good game.
I
would love to see how Aston Villa now play with Rashford and Asensio, but Crystal Palace has been in fine form and they're playing home.
I think it's an upset. I think this Crystal Palace is going to upset Aston Villa.
Agree with let's me. Do it. I agree. Let's do it with Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace. Can't wait to see Eze in a Spurs jersey.
Let's see. It depends who is above who on this when the season ends.
Yeah. Wolves. Then moving on to the next one. Wolves hosting Fulham.
Kuna with fine form. I feel Wolves might get the win.
I think it's going to be a shootout, but Fulham. I'm going to go with Fulham on this one.
Heard.
Next game, Chelsea hosting Southampton. Southampton still looking to make it into double digits point-wise. They're still sitting at 9th points, dead last. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the game that they're going to do it in. So
they're going to be waiting still.
We'll see. Unless, no offense to a professional goalkeeper, but if Robert Sanchez is in goal, then Southampton 11, Chelsea 1. Moving on to Wednesday, February 26th, kicking off with Brentford hosting Everton. Ooh, 2 games. 2 teams have been on a bit of a little hot streak.
Torn here.
David Moyes, against the attacking duo at Brentford with Wissa and Mbeumo.
I just think Mbeumo and Wissa are going to be a little too much for Everton.
You think too much for Pickford? You don't think Pickford has enough arms to block all those shots?
He couldn't he was left standing with that Bruno goal.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, you know what? I go with the 2-2. Another draw.
Oh, you think a
for
draw?
Everton?
Okay.
Yep.
Reasonable. Makes sense.
Now I get to say this. Now that we're safe, battle of relegation. Man United.
It's like celebrity death match.
Now that we're only 2 points, now that we're not 15th and now we're 12th, we're safe. Man United hosting Ipswich at Old Trafford. Unfortunately, I think this might be a tough game for Man United. But I think
I agree.
Ipswich came
for
out
me.
hot. They came out swinging, and they gave us a problems in the beginning of the first half, and they started coming back second half. I still think United will come out with the victory, but Ipswich is not going to make it easy. I think Ipswich isn't going to make it easy for any team. They're going to go down swinging, until the very last, until match week 38. I don't think they're going to accept their faith until then, which is good for them. But I think, unfortunately, United will take this one. What do you say?
I'm picking Ipswich. Why not? I like Ipswich. This Manchester United at Old Trafford, it's not the same fortress. It's not the same. If Spurs can win at Old Trafford, so can Ipswich.
I'm not a big fan of United and the fans and the organization, but it's sad to see the staff and what they're going through.
The staff have nothing to do with the performance of the club.
Exactly.
That is the players and the coach. They should sell. Why are the people who are doing the hard work behind the scenes are the ones that are getting punished when it's the players? When you got Casemiro on this high wage, when you have all these other players, Sancho, you have Rashford, and what you loaned them out. You're looking at the wrong place to do cuts.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's people's livelihood. That's how they feed their families. But all right, moving on to Nottingham Forest hosting Arsenal. Battle of
predictions for the end.
But yeah, we'll hold the predictions till the end. But this is a chance for Arsenal to kind of separate themselves even more from third, or for Nottingham Forest to get a little bit of a step closer to reclaiming, second spot. But we'll hold that for the end. Moving on to the greatest team on earth, Tottenham Hotspurs hosting Man City. Who's Man City? I don't know. We always beat them every year, so they're probably not important. They're
not important, but where are they on the table?
Hey, it doesn't matter. We are Manchester. We own Manchester. We did the double on United.
I think Salah owns Manchester.
No. Sorry. Whenever you come to Manchester, you check in with us. It's weird. Not confident, but I'm hopeful. I think we can win this game, even though Man City does sit in fourth, a few spots ahead of us.
But you're playing at home.
We're playing at home.
And like you said, you're having the longest win streak at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to keep it going. I do think we win this. It's not going to be pretty. Our last three victories, well, maybe the Brentford, but against United and Ipswich having the prettiest. But I think we're getting our team together. I think we've owned City for a while, and I think we keep it going. Spurs 3, Man City 2.
Oh, okay. Predictions already then. Heard that we're going for.
Oh, sorry. Forget what you heard. Spurs, I think we'll take this. There you go.
Pat, cut it.
Final game of Wednesday, February 26th is Liverpool hosting Newcastle. Revenge game.
Revenge. It was a draw. And this can be also a preview of what the final of the Carabao Cup would look like.
That is right.
I will say my prediction. I just believe that Liverpool are in fine form, and we will continue to extend our lead at the top. But I'll let you all know what I think at the very end.
I'll let you know too. And last game for match week 27, Thursday, the 27th, February 27th, is West Ham hosting Leicester City. Graham Potter, I think, does his thing. Unfortunately, it'll be another loss
Sad
for
showing
Leicester
for
City.
Leicester. Yep.
Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate. All right. Let's move on along. We're running a little bit behind time. The mini game, the mini league predictions or mini league. We should have an intro for the mini league. Mini league.
Oh yeah, like a button for.
So let's go over the points. Pat leading in first place with 36 points. He gained 0 points. He did not correctly predict the score or the winner of the Arsenal game, nor
The highlight game of Man City versus Liverpool.
Yep. He predicted the draw, and that did not happen. So he stays at 36 points. Coming in second is Randy with 30 points, and he got 0 points.
again.
We're losers. You did not predict the score of the Liverpool game correctly, so you get 0 points. And then I am coming in strong at 18 points plus 1. I got 1 point this weekend, bringing my total up to 19. I predicted Spurs would win with a 3-1 scoreline. Unfortunately, they scored too many goals once again, and I only get 1 point from this. So let's move into our predictions for this week for the mini league. Let's start off with Pat's predictions. Because, what's our highlight game? Our highlight game is going to be
Forest against Arsenal.
Forest and Arsenal.
It was hard to choose, but just basing on the position, I think this makes it interesting.
I think it's interesting on two behalves. On the behalf of that, it's Forest and Arsenal coming off of losses when they're looking for victories, and they are in second and third place, a spot that could be a little bit interchangeable, but we'll see. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all good. You said what I was going to say. It's all good. But for Pats, yes, get out of it. Stop it. Yeah, but speaking of the highlight game, Pat, I think he still has faith in his Arsenal even after they lost against West Ham. And he believes that Arsenal will be able to pull out a win against Nottingham Forest while they're playing away with a 0-1 for the Arsenal. We should do him a favor and pick Nottingham Forest, but we'll be good friends and let him get his Arsenal vote in. But 0-1 for Arsenal against Forest.
Let him sink with the ship.
Yeah, that ship is already sunk.
Yeah. 0-1 Arsenal. Pat's prediction is locked in. Sorry, buddy. What is your prediction for the Nottingham Forest Arsenal game?
Ooh.
Are you writing it down or should I write it down?
I'm writing it down, bro.
Okay.
Don't take the only thing I have away from me. Sorry. Please.
Yeah. I'm going to take your job.
For me, I have Forest 2, Arsenal 1.
Ooh.
Yes. Forest are a force at home, and Arsenal have no strikers, so how are you going to score a goal? There you go. 2-1 Forest.
Okay.
For you,
I'm torn apart. I'm a little torn. I'm going to go with a score line of Nottingham Forest. Forest 1, Arsenal 1. I predict a draw, and I'm stuck between a 2-2 or a 1-1. I think I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay.
Defensively, I think Arsenal does have a good team side.
But they're against Chris Wood.
Yeah.
What? You having second thoughts?
I'm just trying to catch up some. Let's go 2-2. 2-2. I'm trying to get my. Okay. I'm trying to take the mini league a little bit more serious, because I have a chance.
Heard you have it. You heard it here. He thinks he has a chance.
Yep.
Good luck. Speaking of chance, Spurs against Man City. What is your chance on that?
In case you did not catch it earlier, I think Spurs will win this with a scoreline of 3-2 over Man City once again, taking all 4 matches, becoming Man City, the daddy of Man City.
Yeah, who's your daddy? Spurs.
Yep. Yep. And then Liverpool hosting Newcastle.
Liverpool against Newcastle. Of course, it's going to be a win for Liverpool, but I believe Isaac has been in fine form.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Liverpool's been tired.
To me,
tired legs.
Tired legs. We don't know what tired legs are. When you're running to the champion, when you're running to the parade, there's no tired legs.
All right.
3-1.
You still haven't won anything yet, so we'll see.
That's how cocky I am. I already have the banner.
Hey, I thought you guys were going to win the quadruple last year. What happened to that?
We didn't have the podcast, so that didn't happen, all right? There was no proof. No photos, no proof. Liverpool 3, Newcastle 1.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Overconfident. Okay.
Of course.
Well, there you have it. Our predictions for this week. Hopefully we everybody gets it wrong but me, so I can move up on this mini league. And
good luck.
That's it, right?
Yeah, I believe that is it. And
do you have any games this weekend?
Games this weekend? What, like Champions League? Or
FA Cup?
No.
You got eliminated. That's right. You got to just join the rest of us.
Yeah. So we can focus on winning the important ones.
So we have no games this weekend. The Premier League comes back. When does it come back? March 8th. So no midweek games next week either. So yeah, we'll be previewing these games next week.
But don't worry, just because there's no games, we're still going to be here.
Maybe we'll have a little game of our own.
And thank you guys for joining us today on Rivals on the Pitch. That's it. Let's wrap this up. This is episode 32. That's match week 27. Just make sure you guys stay tuned for our updates on the mini league. Make sure you guys follow us, please, on Instagram, Spotify, on Apple. Rivals on the Pitch. Follow, like, share, comment, support. Let us know with your thoughts. You heard it here, guys. I'm Randy.
And I'm Alan.
Let's get the champagne for the parade. Liverpool are winning it this year. I'm out.
Come on, you Spurs.